And these are the top stories. APC and PDP clash as appeal court sacks third opposition governor. Emefiele reportedly willing to refund over 1.6 billion naira to secure plea bargain. Shaibu There's Obaseki declares to run for Edo State governor. And petroleum tanker drivers begin nationwide protest, threaten to exit Newpeng. On the foreign scene, Hamas accuses Israel of killing 12 in strike on Gaza hospital. Details now. The World News at 12 begins with the People's Democratic Party (PDP) and the All Progressives Congress (APC) clashing on Sunday following the sacking of Governor Caleb Mutfwang of Plateau State by the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja. In a judgment on Sunday, a three-member panel of the Court of Appeal ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to withdraw the certificate of return issued to Mutfwang and issue a fresh one to Nentawe Goshwe of the APC, whom the court declared as the valid winner of the March 18 governorship election. Mutfwang was the third opposition governor to be sacked by the Court of Appeal within 3 days. Last Thursday, the appellate court nullified the election of another PDP governor, Dauda Lawal of Zamfara State, declaring that the governorship election in the state was inconclusive. The following day, the same court invalidated the election of the Kano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf of the New Nigeria People's Party (NNPP). Worried by the serial losses suffered by the governors and lawmakers at the courts, the PDP Deputy Legal Advisor Okechukwu Oswoha declared that the recent court judgments were not in tandem with the law. Meanwhile, former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN), Godwin Emefiele, is reportedly set to return over 1.6 billion naira to secure a plea bargain. You will recall that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) had last week arraigned Emefiele on a 6-count charge bordering on alleged procurement fraud. The original charge, which was 20 counts of 6.5 billion naira, was reduced to 6 counts and 1.6 billion naira. The former CBN governor, who is the only defendant in the new charge, has been remanded at the Kuje Correctional Center. However, according to online media platform This Nigeria, Emefiele is willing to refund some billions to secure a plea bargain with the federal government. A reliable source reportedly told the newspaper that the amount the former Apex Bank chief wants to return is a scratch from what he allegedly looted. Well, now joining me to discuss this and other issues on the World News at 12 right here, we have Mr. Akin Fatunke, a political, social and national affairs analyst and commentator. Good afternoon, Mr. Fatunke.
Good afternoon, Ijeoma. Nice to be with you this afternoon. Good afternoon, Nigeria.
Thank you so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Let us begin with the appeal court judgment sacking Governor Caleb Mutfwang of Plateau State yesterday. It was an unprecedented and unexpected judgment, especially when you look at it and see that this is the third opposition governor to be sacked by the Court of Appeal within about 3 days, in the space of a week. Last Thursday, the appeal court nullified the election of PDP governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara State. The following day, that was last Friday, the same court also invalidated the election of Kano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf of the New Nigerian People's Party, that is the NNPP. The PDP, the Labour Party and several other, even CSOs, have come out to accuse the APC and the President Tinubu-led administration of trying to turn Nigeria into a one-party state. With this judgment, it would seem so. Is that an opinion that you also hold?
Chairman, it's difficult to hold that opinion if you are going to go by the letters and the spirit of the law. It's difficult to hold that opinion, but perceptively, you may begin to now connect some few dots and begin to say it's becoming one time too many, and I will explain myself very clearly. Between Caleb Mutfwang, who won the election, popular election, about 44,000 votes, is nearly going to be wasted in accordance to the courts, basically because he was not validly nominated. Don't forget that before that election, a pre-election issue, I guess, cropped up, and the High Court in Plateau State had indicated to PDP that the wards and Congress election that brought in the nomination of Caleb Mutfwang was not valid and should be reversed. PDP refused that. So, in law, you talk about appropriating and reprobating. It's going to be a bit very, very difficult. Yes, I understand very clearly that if you look at Section 285, Section 2 of the Constitution, or you look at also Section 171 of same Constitution, and then, of course, the Electoral Act, Section 80 and 82, it was clear that unless you are validly nominated, you may have a problem. Now, you may have a problem. If that has happened, we may find it difficult. Now, if you now then say that the ruling party, we might as well begin to point accusing figures at them. Right now, the ruling party itself suffered that same fate in some other dispensation. If you remember, during Buhari's time, Zamfara lost all the electoral victories to the opposition party. Governor Diri of Bayelsa State came up and became governor on account of not being validly considered in the Bayelsa election because of one lie or the other. So on account of this, it may be tough and difficult, in my honest opinion, if you are going to go by the letters of the law. But if it can be proven, like Getwang has said, if it can be proven at the Supreme Court, so be it. But for now, without any sentiment, I am afraid it's going to be difficult. Now go back to Bayelsa State. Same Bayelsa State this time around. I made it open on television. And I said, because of some of the things that came out of that election, my prayer was that, the APC should lose that election, because we saw it was displayed, somebody who was very close to the deputy governor, in waiting for APC was seen with pellets of bullets. And I said, look, this kind of thing should not happen. If that can be proven this time around for Kano State, and I say Kano State the same thing, in terms that, Sani was not a member of the NFPP. So on that technical aspect, it is likely to fall on its face. Would that now hold? Supreme Court will make the final judgment.
All right, Mr. Fatunke, let's look at the appeal court holding that Governor Caleb Mutfwang was not validly sponsored by the PDP and he was not qualified to have contested the election because the PDP did not conduct valid state, local government and ward congresses as ordered by High Court of Plateau State, saying the PDP also had no structure as at the time of the election. If they're saying he was not validly sponsored by the PDP, he ran with their ticket, he contested the primaries, he won, he came out, he contested under the umbrella of the PDP. The PDP followed him through. Even when he won the election, they rejoiced with him. So why saying he was not validly sponsored by the PDP? Also citing Section 177 of the Constitution, she held that the governor was not validly sponsored, citing Section 177 of the Constitution. Now, in also citing the Electoral Act, it was also the same thing. Why saying that a governor was not validly sponsored by a political party if the political party was standing solidly behind the candidate?
Oh, yes, the law is blind, my dear Ijeoma. You must not only be seen, like you rightly put it, standing by the governor, by tenets of the letter. You must be seen also to have applied all the boxes ticked. You may stand with the governor, but there may be a couple of other people who are the worst, who felt that, look, things should go in the normal process. And if the big man now says that is the way it should go, then so it should go. And then we have to go to court. So you cannot be straight in a rough jacket in a form. Standing by the governor is one thing, but ensuring that the tenets of democracy is practiced to the letter is another thing entirely. Same thing just happened in Kogi. Kogi, the people that were waiting are now claiming that a particular candidate by name Dino Malaya was imposed on them. A man who didn't even vote at the time of the election, but perhaps took some funds and then he just went into military. They kept on saying, look, PDP was heading to a loss long before the elections. So we must always put our ears to the ground and not allow the concept of Emilio Con, I am the big man there, here and there, I know I'm going to win elections, I am Kwankatiya in Kanu, and all that kind of stuff, without making sure that we go through the tenets of the elections. Now, where there is a problem now, Choma, I will tell you. If there is a wide differential, like between here and the moon and the stars, then you can then come out and say, well, the will of the people, well, maybe APC or maybe PDP did not follow all those due process, but we don't go agree. That happened in Old Ondo State. When in Old Ondo State, we had Ajasi and Omobori, both of blessed memory. And when the whole thing was now going to go into a kind of a cheating thing, the whole place got burned down. In the Kanu elections that we are talking about, in the Kogi election that we are talking about, in the what do you call it, Plateau election that I said, just a difference of 44,000 is going to be very, very difficult. And wherever the thing swings into, you are not likely to get popular uprising.
Okay.
If it is A will rejoice. If it is B will rejoice. The more reason why we must make sure we are very, very careful. Practice democracy the way it should be practiced. Political parties must do proper democratic process within them, so that we don't just heap this to INEC, heap it to the police, heap it to the judiciary to adjudicate. After all, if you choose to now be very, very rough, and you want to now then come and tell the whole world that you are straight, it might be very, very difficult.
All right, then let's quickly talk about the Emefiele situation. The former CBN governor has been remanded in the Kuje Correctional Center, in Kuje Prison, actually. Right now, as it is, reports say that he's willing to refund over 1.6 billion naira to secure a plea bargain. Now, the EFCC last week arraigned Emefiele on the 6-count charge bordering on alleged procurement fraud. This was a step down from the original charge, which was 20 counts of about 6.5 billion naira. These 20 counts were reduced to 6 counts and brought to 1.6 billion. What happened to the other 5 billion naira? Now, leaving that question aside, if the former CBN governor comes and says, look, I'll give you 1.6 billion in order to just secure a plea bargain, hopefully I can secure my freedom from this, all those charges of economic sabotage, because they're leaving that aside now and they're only trying to talk about this procurement fraud. The other person who was his co-defendant on this case has been put aside, and he's the only one who is answering questions right now. What about those charges of economic sabotage? What about the time when the Naira was redesigned and a lot of Nigerians went through a lot of stress trying to get the new Naira, which the CBN has said now remains legal tender indefinitely? Right now, if he hands over 1.6 billion naira to the federal government, is that enough to let him go?
I tell you, Choma, I am very displeased and the way this has gone. In all honesty, the court eventually released Emefiele, and not long after that.
You have less than.
Hello, Mr. Fatuke, are you with us, sir? Hello, sir, are you with us? All right, we will try to reach Mr. Fatuke one more time, but right now, the World News at 12 continues. Elsewhere, the Edo State Deputy Governor Philip Shaibu has dared his principal, Governor Godwin Obaseki, by declaring to run for the governorship position. The Deputy Governor, who has been at daggers drawn with his boss, unfolded his ambition to become the next governor on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Mr. Fatunke, are you back on the line with us?
I am very much back on the line. I was hearing you clearly.
Oh, thank you so much.
That's okay. And I was making the point that, I didn't like, I see a lot of inefficiency in the way the Emefiele situation is being handled. I still think it's being inefficiently handled. It's going to be very difficult for me to now then see element of vendetta here. I mean, if the thing is now reduced to 6-count charge, like you rightly asked, So what happened to the other ones now? That is without prejudice to the fact that the state has within their properties certain security information which we may not know. And I dare say this is actually not the time to hide anything. I do not know if I should believe the report that is coming out and is saying that he is going to do a plea bargain of 1.6 billion. If true, thank God for that. But I think the whole justice system should go its own hog. The guy should be freed, first of all. And the guy cannot run away, even though people can tell me that he can run away and he can muster enough power and influence to influence the case. After, if we don't on our prosecution the way that should be done, every other person that is linked one way or the other will have been under surveillance. So we cannot say because of that we should continue to hold the man. But if the guy says that eventually says he's going to do 1.6 billion and is going to be on procurement, okay, so be it. After all, we are also seeing in this present disposition a lot of shenanigans within procurement, both at the federal level, at the state level, and it's everywhere. So let's tread with caution. I just say, if it is true, let it be open, let it be clear. Don't let us go through the rumor mill. The guy should not die in detention. If he has agreed that that's what he's going to do. Okay, let's do it and get back our lives very, very quickly. There are so many other things that we need to spend time with.
All right, Mr. Fatunke, you recall that there is a special investigator that's currently investigating the CBN activities and other allied entities, including the NNPC. And this investigation is being done by the Chief Executive Officer of the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, Ijeoma Egwuatu. Now, sources who are close to this case have revealed that the 1.6 billion which Emefiele reportedly may return to be used as a plea bargain is just a tip of the iceberg, as investigations may have uncovered massive fraud by the former CBN governor to the tune of about 3 trillion naira. Talking about a tip of the iceberg, we are expecting the special investigative team, to submit its interim report to President Bola Tinubu any time from now. We do believe that there will be other people who are involved with this case that are not joined in the suit with Emefiele right now, who may be spoken about, who may be outed in this investigative report. What are you expecting from all this?
Oh, by the way, Ijeoma Egwuatu was a former CEO of the Financial Reporting Council, and yes, I have also had snippets of information that this report might be out anytime from now. But Chioma, I have been hearing rumors upon rumors here and there that his report is going to be released, and a couple of people might be indicted. In fact, a report even says people have been trailing Mr. President to Paris, whether to Saudi Arabia, whether to the US, and all that kind of stuff. We cannot continue to tread on rumor bill. This government of hope needs to come out transparently to us. Look, let's Obaze's report come out. Let those whose ops are God come out and refund and be taken to book. We must get that done. And I'm happy you are also saying that by inference we might be getting to the NNPC. Why not get to the NNPC? We need to get to the MPA. We need to get to Nigeria Airways. We need to get to transportation. We need to get aspect of our lives.
So in essence, most government institutions need to be investigated.
Oh yes, it must not only be investigated, Mr. President. Even if it's going to be your household that is indicted in this way, there is no cover up. There is absolutely no cover up, because there is nothing that is going to be unearthed that is already not known outside the shores of Nigeria. I can tell you that
prosecution must be ensured.
Should be ensured, and if we choose to do plea bargain, I don't have any objection to plea bargain. And if we are going to do plea bargain and we are going to be returning 1.6 billion, I think people of four times of that might be what has been lost. So let's not do plea bargain and then get something much more.
Right.
And every other indicted should come to the table and raise their hands, and then let's plug the loopholes that this kind of thing should never, ever happen again.
All right, Mr. Fatoke, I know you really need to go, but I need one more minute of your time to talk about Edo State. Right now, the Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shaibu, has officially declared to run for the governorship position in 2024. We know that there was a slight rift between Governor Obaseki and his deputy, Philip Shaibu, to the extent that the governor locked his deputy out of the government house and put his office somewhere else. Right now, in fact, the deputy has come out to say that the people of Edo State need someone who understands the politics, who understands the needs of the people, that they need practical governance and not someone who is doing experiment with the state. Now, this is an indirect jab at his principal. Hope we are not going to see another Wike Fubara situation in Edo State by next year.
Chairman, we are going to see more than that. We are going to see more than that. You know, I think our last key, it was who said that politics is about who gets what, where, how, and by who. And my dear Shuaibu has bent down, he has promised, allegedly, to say he's not going to contest. I mean, how on earth anybody would want to believe that is anything to go by? And then again, of course, he's gotten back now. He's still not out of the woods yet. Before you can say Jack and Robinson, I think it's principal might again come against him. Something similar to that is happening in Ondo State, don't forget. So when it comes to things like this, there is absolutely no forgiveness whatsoever. I think the governor of Edo State should be gentle. Allow him to contest if he says he wants to contest. After all, that is what democracy should also be about. It should not be a winner take all, zero-sum game kind of situation. It's not going to work. At the end of the day, what legacy are you going to want to leave behind? A tattered party? A party where the two of you will be quarreling, and then you give a room for a third force, another party to just come in just easily like that? People who refuse to learn from history will always be consumed by history. That's what might happen. What's my expectation? Tension. Hopefully, not too much of bloodshed, but that bloodshed will not happen there. will be lying to oneself, and then a lot of wastage and a lot of bastardization of the concept of democracy that we believe we are practicing.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ake Fatoke, for joining me on the World News at 12 this afternoon. I really, really appreciate your presence, your analysis, and your input. Thank you so dearly.
Thank you very much, Chioma. My friends in the Lagos Business School and the icon kept on asking me who you are. I said, well, you are a young lady with the VOP doing your best.
Thank you, Mr. Fatoke.
And they are putting a lot of thumbs up for you.
Thank you so dearly, sir. Thank you. I really appreciate this. Have a wonderful day, sir. In another development, members of the Judiciary Staff Union in Osun State today locked the entrance to the Osun State High Court in Osogbo in a protest against the Chief Judge Adekwele Ojo and the management of the activities of the judiciary in the state. Armed with placards with inscriptions such as "Judiciary staff deserves better," "We're tired of oppression and stagnation," and "Unlawful suspension of judiciary staff without recourse to Judicial Service Commission is barbaric," amongst others. The workers accused Ojo of refusal to pay withdrawal allowances of workers in the last 3 years. The chairman of Osun Josun, Oluwagbemiga Olakunle Eludire, while speaking with journalists today at the premises of the Osun State High Court, which houses the office of the Chief Judge, added that their agitations were quite separate from the actions of the state government. Eludire said their action was because they demanded from Justice Ojo why wardrobe allowance from 2021 till date has not been released despite funding by the state government. He also questioned why the government directive on promotion and advancement made available by the Osun government was not used for the approved purpose. He questioned why notable JUSUN members were unlawfully suspended without proper investigations against the public service rules, and noted that the protesting members will not back down until appropriate action is taken on the matter. Meanwhile, petroleum tanker drivers have threatened to exit its umbrella body, the Nigeria Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, NUPENG, if its president, Williams Akporeha, and General Secretary Afolabi Olawale do not resign. Mr. Gbenga Olawale, an ex-official of the PTD from Ibadan Depot, said in a statement on Sunday that their members will begin a nationwide protest to press home their demands. The statement directed PTD members across the country to move with leaves in front of their trucks to serve as a warning to NUPENG and police against interference and incessant harassment of their leaders. According to Olawale, Williams is not a member of NUPENG and as such lacks the competence to lead the union. He alleged that Williams was drafted into petrol station workers of NUPENG to enable him to contest election as NUPENG president, which was a departure from the NUPENG constitution. Olawale further alleged that Williams planted his surrogates to collect all revenue of the union, which was not used for the development of the union and the tanker drivers. He called for a fresh election as members of the PTD have decided to stand with Lucky Osuson and Dayabu Garga to be the new NUPENG president and general secretary respectively. Olawale added that they decided to support both because they had sacrificed so much to ensure that their members were free from all kinds of extortion. You are currently listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. After the break, we'll bring you stories on the foreign scene. To stay with us. On the foreign scene, the Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza says an Israeli airstrike on a hospital has killed at least 12 people. Israel has not commented but says it's attacking terrorists and terror infrastructure in the Gaza Strip. The hospital blast came after the United Nations Human Rights Chief said Gaza had suffered a horrendous 48 hours. Volker Turk said the killings of people in the UN shelters was wholly inconsistent with protection of civilians required under international law. Earlier, the Israeli military released footage which it said showed a 55 meters long terror tunnel 10 meters deep underneath another hospital, that is the Al-Shifa hospital. It said the footage clearly proves that numerous buildings in the hospital's complex were used by Hamas as a cover for terrorist activities. Hamas has repeatedly denied these allegations, as have medical staff working at Gaza's city's largest hospital. Meanwhile, Qatar, which is trying to broker a deal, says only very minor obstacles remain to Israeli hostages being released. The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza says 13,000 people have been killed in the territory since Israel began its campaign against Hamas. Israel began attacking Gaza after Hamas fighters crossed the border on October 7, killing 1,200 Israelis and taking more than 200 hostages. And that's it on the World News at 12. Just before we wrap up, let's take a look at the top stories again. We heard that the APC and the PDP have clashed as appeal court sacks third opposition governor. Emefiele reportedly willing to refund over 1.6 billion naira to secure plea bargain. Shaibu Obaseki declares to run for Edo State governor, and petroleum tanker drivers begin nationwide protest threatening to exit NUPENG. On the foreign scene, Hamas accuses Israel of killing 12 in a strike on Gaza hospital. And that is a wrap on the World News at 12. My name is Ijeoma Innocent. Please follow our social media handles at VOP903 FM. For coverage of your live events and brand news mentions on our news bulletins, do send a mail to news@voiceofthepeople.ng. Good afternoon and thank you for listening. Please stay tuned. Matters with Ikami Jude comes up next.